Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, I'm on the test server. Something quite sickening has just happened as I try to show you the new champions for the Fusion and the new Fusion itself. I thought I'd see if I could get myself a soul for this new Fusion, just so I could show you him in his best light. And on the test server, I pull my most wanted thing for my main account, which doesn't transfer over, by the way. Sickening. I got a 6-star Teox, which is exactly what I want on my main account. It's so gross. Anyway, I've got two more. Maybe we'll pull one for this dude. Maybe not. All I get is misery. Oh, hold on a minute. I think this is one of the new guys. I've not seen this guy before. Maybe this is the new epic. Okay. Anyway, let's get into it. Before I do, there is a video dropping this morning. I will link it down below. I'm actually going to do it as a live premiere, so you guys can come and get involved and chat alongside with me if you want. I'm going to be showing a bunch of the stuff for the demo we're producing for Gamescom at Fateless. So if you're not in the mix of all this stuff yet, come and check it out. It's starting to come across slick. So super interested to see what you guys think about that as that goes out today. Okay then, let's check out the new champions first before we start playing around with the dude that we already know about. So generally when there's a fusion rather than a fragment collector, there's rares in the mix, there's epics in the mix, and we're able to give you a bit of a visual before they all go out there. So let's see what we've got for the rare. It's going to be a void rare. This is quite challenging actually, because if this is the only rare, which I think it is, that means we're going to have to collect 16 of these void rares. It also means we're going to have to rank them up and also ascend them with pots. We're going to need a bunch of the void ones, which, okay, for rares it's not so bad, but you're still going to need a bunch of the smaller pots and the medium pots. We put all of that information on the Fusion tracker on the website on hellhades.com, so you have all of that if you go and check out the guide. But yeah, basically the void potion keep is only open at the weekends, so on a Sunday, so you're going to have to get yourself in there and top up in between the Fusion, which is relatively challenging to do, or more challenging anyway than if you didn't have that. So let's have a look at him. Let's see if the rare is any good. I will say Raid has moved on a lot since, you know, the rares were all being used and stuff. There's a handful at best rares that are used regularly now, and I'd say there's a few for newer accounts which are still pretty valuable, but the quality, well, not the quality, the need to use rares has gone down over the years. So what's going on? HP based champion, reasonable speed 95, decent HP for an HP based. Let's have a look at the visual first. Branch arm lacer, pretty cool. Obviously not too sexy, but not bad either. Nice couple of axes made out of Groot. I like it. Yeah, pretty sweet visual. Love the kind of like the skull head. Looks like it's sitting over an actual face. So it's Halloween. Love this. Okay, A1. Chop, chop, chop. Yes. Yes, whoever came up with the name for that skill, well done. I like it a lot. Triple hits, which is what we need from a chop, chop, chop. If it was just chop, chop, it would be a double. Each hit heals the champion by 3% of their max HP. So it's getting near enough a 10% heal. 9% heal from the A1. It's actually a lot. It sounds like it's not much. That's a decent heal coming in there from the A1. If you think about some of the champions that we use to solo stuff, mechanics like this are actually really good. Like this could now be a solo champion. Just by seeing this skill, there's a boss where you just need to get plenty of healing in. Imagine you've got regen gear on, you've got some immortal gear on, so every time you take a turn you're already healing by, you know, best part of 15% of your health. Well, make it 25% of your health, and you know, these type of champs can be pretty damn useful. So that's interesting actually already. A2 AoE double hit. Each hit books up to a 75% chance of placing weak version decrease attack. It's okay, it's not good, it's not bad. Double hit though, so it's solid. Also places a shield on all allies equal to 20% of this champion's max HP. It's actually a great skill for a rare. It's actually really good. On a 3-turn cooldown, you're getting a nice chunky shield, and you're putting decreased attack on the enemy, but more importantly, you're hitting all the enemies. So if it was in something like a stun set, you'd got a chance to stun all enemies. I actually like that a lot. Or you put him in something like a bolster set or a shield set. Bolster set gives you additional healing, or a shield set would just give your team a whole shield to start off with. Yeah, I'm liking this guy, actually. And then the A3 puts a strengthen small version on all allies and puts a provoke on one enemy for turn. Okay, so strengthen's decent. Provoke on one enemy. There's only really one place where that's going to be super useful or a bit useful, and that's Hydra. And I don't think he's really a Hydra champion. He's not terrible for Hydra, but yeah, I don't know about that one. But these two steals, both pretty damn solid. This still could be quite clutch in something like Faction Wars if you're just trying to, you know, stop one enemy from having a go whilst keeping your team alive. I actually think that's a decent rare. HP in dungeons. Yeah, that's a decent rare. Okay, let's move on to the epic then. That's a legendary. So we've got a Skinwalker epic coming in. Is one I just saw actually. The one I just got that soul for. Both the Rancid is a badger. Both the badger. Okay, nice. Pretty sweet. There's something about Skinwalkers. They're always going to look good. No matter what animal it is, it's just like, yeah, it's different. I like it. I like it a lot. Pretty cool visual. I like the blades on his back. I'm not really sure what this is, but I guess it's like little poison bomb vial things. He's got his balls where they should be and his stick thing. Okay. So what's going on here? Another HP based, nearly 19k health, good amount of defense, good amount of speed. So nice for an epic. So this one is a spirit affinity, which means you don't need a lot of the spirit pots. You know, I talked about that earlier. 4 epics are going to fuse into one legendary champion for the fusion if you decide to go fusion route, which means that these guys need to be taken up, 4 of them, to level 50, ascended, all of that stuff before you can fuse the fusion. So you need to bear that in mind as we're going through it. But it might be that some people just want to keep this guy. So see what he's like. Double hit, chance to put heal reduction on. This is generally good for, actually, for an A1, what's this? 25% chance per hit. Books up to 50% chance per hit. Can end up being quite a nice Curse City, can't think what his name is, the boss killer. Heal reduction against the boss for his first form is actually really useful. So, yeah, could be decent for that. But the other place where it's decent is Finite. So that's the 2 places where I'd use heal reduction a lot. And having a good chance on the A1 on a double hit is actually really nice. The A2 attacks all enemies, decrease accuracy. Also decreases the duration of all, increases duration of all allied buffs. So we've got another buff extender on a 3-turn. Good for Wixwell, that type of stuff. The rest of it so far is not good for Wixwell though. But Wixwell clan boss teams is what I mean, sorry. But yeah, another 3-turner, which is the important part if you're doing something like a buff extension team. And then we've got the A3, removes 2 random debuffs from all allies on a 3-turn and heals them by 10% of their max HP. Then puts increased accuracy on. I actually do think this guy is pretty damn awesome for the Curse City. For, what's his name? Amius. The reason why I say that is when Amius tries to like change buffs around, take your buffs and remove your buffs and put buffs on himself, what he does is he flips buffs. And what you don't want to do is give him, like, put decrease attack on him and then he flips it to increase attack. Or put something like block buffs on him and he flips it to block debuffs, yeah? So you don't want something that he's done a flip which causes you a massive headache. But you've actually got here decrease attack on him, which you would just flip to increase attack. I don't think that's a big deal in terms of the flip. And also here, putting increased attack on your guys, it's not the best thing in the world. Like, so you get a mini cleanse, or a decent cleanse actually, and a heal, and then you've got something which he can flip into a decreased accuracy. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's also not the worst. And it's on a decent cooldown. So I think he's actually a good Amius champ. I think this could be a pretty decent one. We've then got a passive here. Decreases the damage all allies receive from poisons by 50%. That's an interesting one as well. Where would I use that? I mean, mainly dragon, like hard dragon especially, trying to, you know, you've got a cleanse, you've got less poison damage. Hydra, I guess, decrease accuracy on the enemy, increase accuracy on you, decrease damage on poisons, kind of nice. Interesting champion, actually. I do think there's going to be some use cases for this guy, but I don't know that he stands out as like top tier. I just think this cleanse here, I do like this ability of buff increase from you, and then this cleanse, heal, and increase accuracy here. Really good, like mid-game entry into something like Hydra, where you're struggling to get the stats you want, or as you're like pushing up through Doom Tower, struggling to get the stats that you want, and you're basically reducing the amount of stats that your team need by having this guy around. Anyone who's got a decent cleanse, and this is 2 debuffs, which is pretty solid for a cleanse on a 3-turn with a heal. I actually think this is a really good epic. I think it can be used in a ton of places as like a mid-game type of dude. Okay, and then we check the legendary out. So we're going to do a bit of just damage testing in a second on the legendary, but we've got Scorid here. So we've seen his kit already. Good speed. We haven't seen that. Attack, nearly 1500. 102 speeds high. And this is a guy then. So attacks has a 50% chance of placing a debuff spread, taking a hex debuff and placing it on others. And if they're not under hex, will spread a different debuff. So it's pretty good A1. A2 buffs himself before he attacks. So before attacking, puts increased attack on this champion. Repeats the attack on all enemies under hex as well, ignoring shield against targets under hex. So you either have someone else go first and put hex out there, or he does have the ability to place hex on the A3. So attacks all enemies before attacking, places hex on all enemies for 2 turns. The damage inflicted by this skill increases by 20% for each hex placed. And the cool thing about this is it's a place hex before he attacks. So there's no affinity problems here. There's nothing like that in terms of placing the hex. So he should just get a straight, if you've got the accuracy, he should just get a straight massive damage boost. So it's going to be interesting to see. Heals this champion by 20% of their max HP for each hex blocked or resisted. That part, you're hoping it doesn't happen because you just want the massive boost of damage. But I guess if you get like a 3%er, because you didn't, you know, just the game loves to do it, then you get a nice heal. If someone's got, say you're in the arena and people have got block debuffs out there, then you're going to get a big old heal. So I guess it's okay for a bit of sustain, but I think this feels better than it is. I don't think that's happening a lot. The other thing, I guess, the other thing is you don't build it with any accuracy and you just use this as like a heal bot type of thing. Could be interesting. And then you've got this passive here. Fills this champion's turn meter by 10% when attacking targets without hex. Ignores 15% defense when they've got hex. So we've got 15% ignore defense. We've also got bonus damage up to like 100%. And he's got self-buffing as well. And pretty much AoE hits should be AoE hits. Sounds to me like just a great nuker. Just a great nuker. The annoying thing is you kind of have to do this first, which means you don't get the self-buff until like the second wave. You really want the self-buff before this skill. So it's a minor thing because you can't have it all. But that's the kind of weird loop for him. I know I've been talking to YST actually, and he was saying kind of feels a bit like Ruel in terms of great hits. Ruel's got great damage output, but he's just a little bit difficult to use. But I do think for like a mid-game player, either way, to bring a big nuker onto your team, you know, for stuff like Arena and for Hydra, it could be really interesting. And as we've all got Ninja nowadays, him alongside Ninja should just answer the 2 damage dealers part of a Hydra team, for example. Maybe I'll do that as a separate video. Let me know if that's what you'd like to see, by the way, down below. And yeah, and then the rest of your team is kind of like support around it. So interesting. Okay, let's do a bit of a damage test and see if this guy is actually worth it. What was his passive again? Ignores defense. Yeah. So let's do a bit of a damage test and see if he's going to be worth our time. Okay, then, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to test a couple of nukers in the same gear and then try out Scored after that. So First one I'm going to do is Genbo. Genbo's a widely known, decent arena nuker, decent damage dealer. Got a good AoE hit on him, got some self-buffing as well. And I'd say he's a good, like, epic for doing damage. We're going to test it all in Dragon. Everyone's got the same masteries. They're going to be wearing exactly the same gear. I did already record this once. That's why they're all recently used. But stupid recording software decided to go black screen, which is always fun after you've done about an hour of work. Right, let's do this. So Genbo up first. We've got buffing crew. I'll put Hex out there as well, just so that it's like an even spread. Everyone's got increased attack in this set. We've got poisons on the enemy with Bad L, which gives us more damage. Poisons on us who derped up more damage. And then Genbo's going to go in with his A2 and see what his AoE hit is. Like 170k-ish, 180, 170k. That's the Genbo smack. Let's switch to now going up a tier. Don't forget, these got no accessories, so the damage is reduced a bit from that. But Supreme Elhaine, she's a Void legendary known for high damage now. So we're going for someone who can kick a punch, pack a punch. We're just going to go with the same gear. Again, crit capped, high crit damage, good attack. Talking like 5 odd K attack, 220 odd crit damage, damage masteries, and no accessories. Okay, so we can keep it nice and even. And we're not using the auras from them either. So 180 odd K for Genbo. If you were lucky enough to pick up someone like a Supreme Elhaine or someone of that kind of tier of nukage, which is a high tier, honestly, she's one of the better nukers in the game, just for pure damage numbers. Her AoE hits. So she's got a similar multiplier to Scorded here, that she does more damage for each debuff on the enemy. Scorded does more damage based on the number of hexes on an enemy. So we've got 6 debuffs out. She's actually getting a 60% damage increase from this setup. And she's going to do like 300k actually, 240 to 300k. So that's a big hit. Is Scorded in the same realm? Just as a straight nuker, because I think he's going to be great for Hydra as a general champion, or at least very good for Hydra. But is he going to be viable? Let's just remove the accessories. Is he going to be viable as just a straight arena damage dealer, you know, that type of champ? So we're going to grab all of the same gear. Again, crit capped, 226 with the attack based on his base attack. And in he goes. Mithrala giving us our Hex. We're just going to try the A3, which is his biggest damage move. I've done the biggest damage move on the other two. Got Hexes everywhere, which means we're going to get that bonus. 100% damage for him? Pretty sure. Let's just check. Slow this down. A3. Before attacking, places Hex, but it's already out there. The damage inflicted by this skill increases by 20% for each Hex placed. Ah. So I wonder if he's going to overwrite, actually. He needs to place the Hex to get the damage. I wonder if he overwrites here. He did not overwrite, and we got lower damage, like 230 odd K. So let's just switch out Mithrala for this. Let's put in Arbiter. He needs to place the Hex. Right, okay. That's good to know, actually. So in somewhere like Hydra, if you've got someone else placing the Hex for him, which would benefit his A2, he's not going to get the same sort of damage away. So let's see this now. He should place 5 Hexes, which he has done. Then nukes. Oh, 340 to 440k. More damage than Supreme Elhaine. And because he's placing Hex, he's actually spreading the extra damage onto everybody. That's a big hit. That is a big, big hit. So for his A2, though, this is where it gets a bit awkward. His A2 needs Hex out there to do the big damage. And don't forget, this is more like a Hydra setup, I think, than a standard setup. But let's just test it anyway. Damn, that's without accessories as well. That's big damage, actually. That's big damage. Yeah, that's one of the better nukers in the game right there. In terms of just pure damage numbers. Not in terms of can he really be used. But for a normal legendary, that's very high. So Hex everywhere. A2 then. He would self-buff here. And will repeat the attack on all enemies under Hex. Now, someone like Mashaled will attack one enemy, and then all of his extra attacks actually count as single target hits. And you're probably like, why does that matter? Well, against Hydra, they have a load of damage reduction for AoE hits. So it depends on how this is coded as to whether this is great for Hydra or just a kind of bit good for Hydra. But in terms of damage numbers, let's have a look. Drop defense and weaken on him. Let's do this. 170 and then like the 200 odd Ks. Another really decent hit, actually. Not top tier, but decent hit. I guess let's just check his A1 as well. So yeah, so those that are kind of like interested, is this guy going to be worth it purely for damage numbers? He's a high hitting champion. High damage champion. A1 is like a 219 odd K as well. Really decent. So A3 top tier damage. A2 good damage, but might be even better for Hydra. A1 good damage. Yeah, so purely for damage, this guy's going to be solid. And then I think specifically for Hydra, I think he's actually going to be one of the good champions that you can pick up to pull your damage numbers up. As I say, him and Ninja together, I think could be a really solid team for like, mid-game Hydra moving towards later game Hydra. Anyway, there you go, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next one.